Good morning, Abdullahi. Abdullahi, we just wait for 4 5 minutes, then we'll start, right? Yes, Abdullahi. I'll take your questions. You have problem on numericals topics? Yes, Abdullahi. On which topic you have doubts? No, you are not replying. What can I do? Yes, I'm asking you on which topic you want to ask. Tell me. I'll clarify. You want to ask me something or should I continue with the next topic? Just tell me this thing. Binary mathematics. Okay. Which topic in binary mathematics? Addition or subtraction? Okay, both topics, right. Okay, so let me share my file, then I'll explain. You opened that file, you share that file, notes file. Why don't you share that file? I'll show you in that only. You just now open that file, na? Notes file. If you have any question with you, you can open that. I'll explain that.
Okay, ma'am, let me share. Bari mu san tambaya
Yeah.
biyu.
Yes.
Have you seen,
Coming.
ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes. I can see. I can see.
Binary, the arithmetic operation, addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication, which are performed on the binary number is called binary arithmetic.
Your voice is not clear, so I just explain it
Have you,
again.
okay, but have you seen it?
Yeah, I
Have
can
you
see.
seen, ma'am?
Yeah, I can see, but this is not screen is not maximized. Uh, well, no, I cannot read it. It's fine. You stop sharing. I'll share my screen. I'll show you again. Yes. Just a second. I'll first start with the next topic, Abdullahi. Okay, and then I'll take up this thing. Is it okay? Just a second, just a second. I'm just downloading my file for the next topic. Okay, second, guys. Sorry. Yes. Yes. Is this visible now? My file is
Yeah,
visible.
it has disappeared. Oh, madam,
Yes. Is my file
yeah,
visible?
it's showing a blank page.
This PPT is visible or not? Just say yes or no.
Mm, The file is visible, but it's showing a blank page. There's nothing on it.
Now
Yeah,
is it showing?
yeah, now it's showing.
Okay. 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 Right. So our next topic is, what is operating system? What is operating system? Tell me. You know what is operating system? Any idea? Yeah, tell me what is operating system? You don't know what is operating system? Can't you tell me the name of any operating system? You don't know the name of any operating system. Hmm? Okay, that Norbert piece left. Strange, you haven't heard this operating system in laptops, in mobiles. Don't know which operating system we have in mobile. At least say yes or no. Yes, Francis, tell me.
Yeah, mobile systems use Android.
Yes, and
Mobiles
computers.
use Android system.
Right, right. And your laptops and computers.
And computer use uh, different operating systems like Microsoft Windows XP,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then we have
Right, right. Very true.
Microsoft Windows 10, yes,
Hmm.
and 8 and 7.
Yes, right. Yes, Microsoft Windows basically these are the different versions. Okay, so that is your operating system that we use. Other than that, we have Linux also. Okay, in companies, in big companies, they use Linux. Okay, and in the beginning, the oldest operating system was Microsoft DOS, desk operating system. Abdullahi, you haven't heard of this term before? What is operating system? In your computer, laptops, mobiles, you never heard this term?
I know it's mom.
Then why you were not answering for last 5 minutes?
I'm trying to think, mom.
Oh, so much thinking just to tell me the names of operating system. So this is basically operating system is which you know that without operating system you cannot start any computer or any mobile. So these kind of electronic devices, they this operating system is must for them, right? Only they will start working only when they have operating system in them. Okay, so first of all we need to install operating system, right, in any computers or any mobiles. Okay, so as you said, these are different for computers and mobiles. Okay, so now we'll like for Apple computers, which operating system we use, or Apple mobiles, iPhones. Yes, Francis, do you know that?
I think we use Mac.
Yes, for Apple products we use Mac, right? Okay, so now I'll tell you. We basically we just know the names of operating system. Okay, now I'll tell you what is operating system definition. Okay, so operating system is basically your computer is just a machine, right? So whatever instruction you go give to the computer, like open this file, save this file, print this file, so that's instruction you cannot directly communicate to the hardware, right? We are the user, we cannot directly talk to the hardware. So operating system is the layer in between the user and the computer. Okay, so this is the interface. So we interact with the operating system, and then operating system instructs the hardware. We cannot directly instruct the hardware. Okay, so we'll give instruction to the operating system, and then operating system will give the instruction to the your hardware, right? So this is the you can say interface between the computer and the user. Right now, this operating system, as I just said, these are the examples: Windows, Unix, right? And what are the different jobs of operating system in a machine? Okay, so what is the definition first? This acts as an interface between the user and computer. And now, what is its job? Its job is to handle all the hardware. Okay, it controls all the execution of all kinds of programs. It controls all the hardware. Okay, so whatever resources you have in your computer, all the software, hardware, everything is in the under the control of OS. Clear? So now, what are the jobs of OS? It handles memory, it handles files, it handles processor, it handles input output. Okay, so these all are the functions of operating system: file management, memory management, process management, input output, peripheral devices, right? So these all are the jobs. Now, this is the, as I said, we don't, user cannot directly instruct to the hardware. So we give instruction to the OS. Now, what we do generally, like, we don't, how we give instruction to the OS? We generally interact through some apps. Okay, we have some application software on our computer. Like, you are working with Microsoft Word, you are working with Microsoft PowerPoint or Excel or any other software you have. Okay, like you have some music related software, you are working on some games. So whichever software you are working on, so that is basically an application. Okay, so that we give instruction in that application window, and that instruction is passed to the operating system, and then operating system gets that work by the hardware. Because basically, whatever instruction we are giving, all the instructions are performed by the hardware. When we say save a file, so where my file is saved? In a hard disk. Okay, that is also a hardware. If I say print, so that is also means printer will give my, no. If I say show me the output, so that means this output will be shown on the monitor. So basically, whatever I'm doing on the computer, that everything gets performed on the hardware, but we cannot directly control the hardware or give instruction to the hardware. So as a user, we use some apps. Okay, some application software, we give instruction in that, and those instruction passes to the operating system, and then operating system translate my instruction to the, no, hardware, that what job is to be done by the hardware. Am I clear? Am I clear till this point, Abdullahi?
Yes, ma'am, I understood.
Right. So these are the, you can say, four layers or four components. One is hardware, one is user, one is application software, and one is operating system. Now, this operating systems comes under which category? System software. Okay, so this comes under the system software category. We did types of software in the last class. You remember? We did application software and we did system software. We did it in the last class, Abdullahi. What are system software? What is the difference
System
between
of
application software and,
what
what is
difference
the,
between system software and application software?
sorry?
Application software, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me what is application software.
Ma'am, application software is a type of software that run.
Any software that we use depending on the user's requirement. Okay, so that is like it may be different on your computer, it may be different on Francis computer, it may be different on my computer. It depends, like you are using games, so you have game software. If he is working on library, so he has library software. If I'm working on accounts department, so I'll have that accounts software, right? So it depends on the user's requirement in whichever area I'm working. Depending on that, I'll be having that application on my system. Like if I just shop, so I'll have that shopping online shopping software on my computer, right? So it depends. Like I have so many application software, I cannot have all the application software on my computer, right? So it depends on my requirement to users to user, it varies. Okay, so depending on that, so these application software depends on the user's requirements, and these are not compulsory for the computer to start. Okay, so this is not like if you don't have MS Office on your computer, even then your computer will work, right? I think you were not having this MS Office before starting these classes. Many of the students, they installed it after we started doing the classes, right? So that means their computer was working even when they were not having this MS Office on their computer, right? So these are not necessary for the functioning of the computer. Okay, but system softwares are those software which are necessary for the computer to start. Your computer will not start if you don't have operating system in your computer or in your mobile. Okay, so these comes under the system software. Is it clear? Right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Any
ma'am.
users? Okay. uh, बोल. Yes. So these are the categories of software. So what we did, that all the users interact with the application software interact with the system software, and then our instruction are no done by the hardware, and who gets it done? Operating system. And whatever you have, your CPU, your RAM, your input output devices, they all come under the hardware. Clear?
Yes.
Right. So this is what we can say. How we can define the operating system? We can say that operating system is a resource allocator. It manages all the resources, right? Because all the resources, all other software, all other hardware, everything comes under the control of this OS. So this is kind of supervisor or monitor, you can say. Okay, so it manages all the resources, right? So it controls executions of program to prevent errors and improper use of the computer. Like sometimes if you give wrong password, so who tells you that this is wrong password, try again and whatever. So this is the job of the operating system. Security also is managed by the operating system. Okay, so now we'll study, we did what is the definition of OS. Now we'll study what are the functions of OS. Okay, so what are the different functions? One is memory management, processor, device management, file management, security, error detection, job accounting, coordination between all the software. There are so many software in your computer, so uh, all the software's coordination between them will also be handled by the operating system. Now we'll study all these functions one by one. Okay, so first is memory management. Memory management means your primary memory. We did what is primary memory? Anybody remembers what is primary memory? What comes in primary memory? Main memory or primary memory? That is same thing. What is primary memory now? We have done all kind of storage devices. In that unit, I told you what is primary memory, what is secondary memory. Nobody remembers RAM. Do you remember what is RAM? You have this RAM in your mobiles also. When we go to purchase, no, not processor. Processor is not your in storage device. No, but I'm saying RAM. Have you heard about RAM? When you go to purchase a mobile or when you go to purchase a laptop, they tell you that this is having, no, this mobile is having this much RAM, this is having this much RAM. So, what is RAM?
RAM, random access memory, ma'am.
Very good, right? So, this is the memory which is called the primary memory, where the data is not stored permanently, but this is just required for the increasing the speed of the processor, because if the processor will pick up the data from the hard disk, which is my secondary memory and permanent memory, but it will take lot of time, right? So we what we do, whatever application we open, that gets opened in RAM basically. Okay, so the more RAM you have, the more number of applications you can open, because that application will be brought into the RAM. That data, that software will be brought into the RAM. Okay, so this memory management is handled, memory means primary memory, it's handled by the operating system. It checks, like whenever we say open this file, so it will check whether there is space in your RAM or not to open that file. Okay, like if I have opened this OS file, which PPT I am showing you, this was stored in hard disk, right? But when I say open this, this will be brought into the RAM from the hard disk. So whichever window we are opening on our desktop, that means that we have brought into the RAM, okay, from the hard disk, right? So more number of apps or windows you can open depends on the capacity of your RAM. Okay, so if there is no space in RAM, then what it will do, it's not like it will not open that file for you, it will free the RAM. Okay, it will free the space in the RAM. It will see, okay, if this file is not required by the user right now, it will send it back to the hard disk. Okay, so that kind of working it does, swap in swap out from the hard disk, which user is saying open, it will bring from hard disk to RAM, and if space is less, then it will keep any other file which you are not using right now, that it will take back to the hard disk. Okay, so it will handle that memory, how to make space in RAM. So this is handled by the operating system. When a user wants to open some file, that RAM space will be allocated to that user, and when his job is done, when he closes the file, that space in the RAM will be taken or deallocated by the operating system, and that space will be given to any other processor or user. Next function of OS is processor management. Processor means that we have a CPU, okay, but there are so many users who are giving instruction, and there is only one processor. So how that processor time will be allocated to different users? Okay, so sometimes what it does, it will divide some a time frame. Okay, that each user will get the processor for this many nanoseconds, suppose. Okay, so after that nanoseconds, it will be taken back, the processor will be taken back by the operating system, and it will be allocated to second user. Then it will be taken back from the user 2, and it will be allocated to the third user. So like that, it handles that how the processor will be allocated to, no, among different users. Okay, so that it handles that traffic. Okay, traffic control. Same way, it handles the input output management. Okay, so what is input output management? Like, suppose if I give so many commands to the printer, so that in printer all those requests are stored in a queue. Okay, so it sees, okay, this printer will be allocated to this request, then this printer will be allocated to this request, so it will handle that queue, right? So every input output devices, whether it is your, no, what it may be any other external device also, so whatever devices you are using, so that will be also handled by the operating system. It will see that to which user I have to allocate this device, and then after his job is done, it will take back that device from that user and it will allocate to some other device, some other user, right? Same way, next is file management. File management means, now here we are talking about the secondary memory. Which is your secondary memory? Which is your secondary memory?
The hard drive.
Hard drive. Very good. So that hard disk, sometimes you see, you say save a file and it shows there is no space or it already exists. So who handles the all this thing, that know how much space will be allocated to which file and on which address this file is stored, whether that file already exists. So whatever, no, all that hard disk space is handled by the operating system. So it keeps track that how much space is allocated to which user and for how long and on which address. Okay, so it OS decides that which resource, whether it is processor or input output device or file or RAM, it will be allocated to which user for how long, and then his job is done, it will be taken back from that user and it will be allocated to some other request. Okay, so this allocation and deallocation, all that is handled for all the resources is handled by the OS. So the same way some other jobs are, one is security. Okay, as I said, if you enter wrong password, you won't be allowed to access or open the system. Okay, then error detection, if there is some no error messages that you see, so who shows you those error messages? OS. Okay, and coordination between all the software is also managed by the OS. Job accounting means keeping track, okay, to keep a record that this user used this resource for this much time. Okay, so that recording is also maintained by the OS. Okay. Next is types of OS. What is types of OS? Types. The earliest type of OS was batch operating system. Okay, just a second. Yes. What I was saying, batch operating system. So, batch operating system means it was the oldest type of OS where what they used to do, that all kind of processes which have same similar requirements, which have no, which require same type of resources, they will be batched in a group, and then that group will be executed or no by the processor in as a group. Okay, so all the jobs will be submitted to the processor as a group, right? So this is the here the intention was to maximize the use of processor. So it will no, it will increase the efficiency of the processor. So for every job, suppose if you have to compile many programs, you don't need to install compiler separately for each program. So you will install it once in the RAM, and then whatever processes requires that compiler, all those jobs will be performed in a group. Okay, so this is kind of where job is performed in a batch, right? Next is time sharing. Time sharing is like not in a batch, all the processor will get the processor for a fixed time period, that is called time quantum. Okay, so as I said, we will decide some fraction of a second. Okay, so some nanosecond you can say, that the processor will be allocated to all the users, to all the processes one by one for this much time. Okay, that is time sharing operating system. Next is this multi-user is also same time sharing. So this is one processor will be allocated to all the users for a on a time basis, but the it will be so fast, the switching from one user to another will be so fast that the user will not come to know that there is only one processor which is being shared by so many processors. Okay, your response, you will get your response so fast that you will feel that only you are working on your processor. Okay, so this is time sharing. Next is multiprocessor. Multiprocessor means if there are many processors in your computer. Okay, multiple processor you have, right? So how they will divide the job among themselves. Uniprocessor means when there is only one processor in the system, and multiple processor means when we have many processors in the system. Okay, and they all will be interconnected. Okay, all the processors are interconnected, but here in multiprocessor operating system, there are many processors but they all share the same memory. Okay, so all other resources are shared by all the processor, whichever resources you have in your computer. And this is distributed also we have multiple processor, but here all the processor have their own resources, their own memories. Okay, and then they are just connected by wires. Here also multiple processor, but they share the other common resources in a system like memory or whatever resources they have. But here in distributed also we have multiple processor, but they all have their separate resources, their own memory. Okay, so they are kind of, you can say, complete computers. We call them nodes also, we call them computers also, sites also, and they are just connected by wires. This is distributed. Okay, so in distributed, the user will not come to know that there are many processor behind the working. Now I tell you, suppose if you say like I'm saving some of my data on my Google Drive, okay, or on my Gmail. Okay, so I feel that there is only one computer in Gmail, but that Gmail might be divided on many computers, for that Gmail server it might be using many computers, right? So you don't know that which computer is doing which job. For you, for user, there is only one server. Okay, so that transparency. So here the presence of multiple processor is invisible to the user. They are connected. Okay, and but user does not come to know that there are multiple processor working behind it. Okay, and in network operating system, here also many computers are connected to each other, but here the difference is that here the computer knows that there are different sites, different computers. So the user knows that if I want this file, I will have to request this computer, this file is on this computer, whichever resource. Okay, so here the transparency is there. So what we are studying here is basically operating system. So if you are working in networking environment, you have to install network operating system. Okay, like Windows Server. So I have given these examples. So there are many separate operating system which are used for networking environment. Okay, so these are the types of operating system. Next is your embedded. What is embedded? Anyone? What is embedded machine? Embedded machine. Have you heard about this? Okay, embedded machine is like we talk about hardware and software, right? So embedded machine is where there is no software installed separately, right? What we do, software means instructions, okay? But in embedded machine, those instructions are fixed on the hardware itself. Okay, fixed means the chip, the circuit is designed according to that instruction only. So, like you see the microwave, the ovens, the fully automatic washing machine, in all these machines are embedded machines, because this they on their chips, they all these machines have some chips. Okay, so on these chips the software instructions are designed on the hardware itself. The circuits are designed on the chip itself. There is no separate software or separate operating system we have to install. Okay, so there all the instruction are installed in the ROM, and that is permanently fixed in that machine. Okay, so embedded operating system, we have some operating system that we have to use for embedded machine. Next is real time operating system. Real time operating system is where the time response time is fixed. Okay, like we use for satellite launching, rocket, scientific projects. Okay, so these kind of environment where I don't want that my CPU should be fully utilized, because what we were doing in multiprocessor and multi time sharing, what we want that my CPU should be fully utilized, because CPU is so fast that if it just doing one instruction at a time, so rest of the time it is just sitting. Okay, just a second, just a second. हेलो, हेलो, क्या हाल है? हाँ, मैं तेरे को याद ही कर रही yes, sorry. So what we were discussing, real time. So in the real time operating system, the restriction is on the response time. What we want that the response time should be fixed. Okay, that we don't want any delay in the response time. We can't afford basically. Okay, so if your CPU is waiting or sitting, we don't want to the CPU to perform multiple processes at a time to increase its efficiency and utilization. We want CPU should do one job only, but with full power. Okay, its entire time and entire processing should be focused on doing one job only. Okay, so here our focus is not on the maximum utilization of CPU, but our focus is on the response time. So that is called real time operating system. Now, as I have written here, this is the focus is on the response time. Okay, right? So now this real time is again divided in two time of operating system: hard real time system and soft. Hard means where the conditions are very rigid. Okay, uh, rigid means we cannot like whatever time limit is given, we the system has to respond back in that time limit, right? And in soft real time system it can vary a little bit. Okay, so like we are doing this video conferencing, so here also response time should be fast, but still a little bit delay can be manageable. But in hard real time we cannot accept any delay. Okay, so this is the about the types of operating system. So what we did today, what is operating system, different components of operating system, functions of operating system, and types of operating system. Am I clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So this here I have just briefed once again that OS does all the input output operation, error detection, communication, resource allocation, file system, protection. All these are the jobs of the operating system. So basically computer is just a machine, but this operating system brings it to a level where the user can communicate with this machine. No, otherwise, uh, this this is just like your calculator, or any other hardware machine. But it will you can only interact with this when it has operating system. Only then it will accept your instruction and it will implement your instruction. For mobiles, Android is the operating system that you have already told. Okay, so this was one chapter. Now I'll share the file of next chapter. Just a second. So next chapter we have is the networking concepts. Okay, Ibrahim, Abdullahi, I'll come back to that binary topic again. Don't worry. Okay, first let me cover this next units. We have tomorrow's class also. Okay, so next is networking. We'll study some concepts related to networking. Now, first of all, what is networking? Anyone? What is computer network?
Computer network is a group of computer that connect to each together through wires.
Yes, Norbert, tell me, what do you want to say?
Networking is the interconnection of computers such that they can share resources among each other.
Yes. When we connect multiple computers to each other, and what is the purpose of connection? Why we connect all the
Sharing
computers? Yes, very
sharing
good.
of resources.
Right. So if in an office there are four employees working, and if I just make a network or 10 employees, if I just connect their computer, so that means any work done by one employee on his system can be shared by other no can be shared with other employees. Okay, on the network they can access each other resources. Sometimes what happens, like if there are 10 employees and one printer is connected only to the manager's computer. Okay, but if that is in a network, so any employee can give print command from his computer, and he can take the printout from that single printer. So you don't need to connect printer to each system separately. You just connect this printer in a network, and then all the computers can use this printer. Okay, so this is one example of resource sharing. So the purpose of this network is resource sharing. Okay, so network is a group of computer linked to each other that enables the computer to communicate with each other and share their resources. That resources can be some file, that resource can be some hardware resource also. Okay, any kind of resource. So then this connection can be wired also, and this connection can be wireless also. Right? Now you see that computers can be connected through wires also, and wireless. What is the example of wireless connection?
Wi-Fi.
Yes, Wi-Fi. Very good. Right. So this connection can be wired or wireless. Now there are three types of no networks we can divide on the basis of their geographical area. First is LAN. LAN is where the networking is done within one building, within one campus. Okay, that is called local area network, in which you where you connect the computers in a small area. Okay, so like in one school, one college, and you can connect from 2 computer to 16 million, right? And then obviously this is done to share the resources, and that resource can be any files or printers or internet scanner, any resource. Okay, next is this LAN is used for connecting all the computer, and this is not so expensive. Okay, data is transferred at a very fast rate, speed is there, and security is also there. Why? Where we have more security, in LAN or in internet? Yes, which is more secure according to you?
Ethernet cable.
Hmm? LAN is more secure. Okay, why? Because obviously LAN you have yes, right, Abdullah, Ethernet cable, because LAN Ethernet is basically LAN only, right? Because in LAN you have limited number of system connected, and no, so that is why this is more secure. But internet, you don't know, there can be any kind of threats, right? So, and speed is also fast in LAN, right? So, and it uses Ethernet technology, and it can be wired or wireless both, and it can be both also at a time. Next is your man. Man is when you want to connect the system within a city. Okay, like you want to connect all the branches of a bank in one city, and networking within one branch is LAN. But when you connect all the branches within a city, this becomes man. Okay, this is LAN, and when you are connecting these LAN, this becomes man within a city, right? And WAN is like it can extends over a large geographical area, right? It can like it can be, it can span over any countries from one corner of the world to the another corner of the world. So this WAN, what is the example of WAN? Internet is the biggest WAN in the world. Okay, and for that internet you can use cables also, and you can use wireless Wi-Fi also. Okay, so cables we use fiber optic cables, satellite. It can be satellite links also. It can be telephone line also. So this is your LAN, MAN, and WAN. But practically we use LAN and WAN only nowadays. MAN is not used. Okay, so LAN and WAN. These, and what are the advantages? Obviously, you can provides network all over the world, right? Then you can exchange message, you can share software. Nowadays you see, you don't need to install any software, you get online you can use any software, right? You can do global business also. So centralized data, in like in Gmail, if you are storing your data, that is on one, at one place only, right? So that is centralized data. But disadvantages, again, security issues when you are on the internet. So like for your system you use antivirus, the same way when you are working in networking you use firewall also you need to use for protect you from this internet threats. Okay, and cost is also high. So these are the features of networking, right? File sharing, communication, backup, right? Hardware, software, security, these all are the features, right? And then you can do e-commerce also, you can share resources also, you can, it can be a communication medium also, like we are communicating using the internet. You are sitting in one corner of the world, I'm in one another corner of the world, right? So this is communication medium. Then mails also we can do. And then server, client server. What is client server technology? Anyone has any idea? What is client server technology? Client server is like when I open this google.com or gmail.com, right? So that means all the data is stored in one computer, right? That becomes my server. Okay, and when I click on that link on some website, so that means my browser requests that website, that server, to send me that particular page. Okay, so when I click on that link, I become, my computer becomes the client. So client means which request for the information, and all the information is stored in the server. So server is then that website will send that particular page to my computer or to my browser. Okay, so that is client server. So server, what all the information, security, everything is applied on the server. And client, there can be many client for one server. Is it clear? So this networking can be done in two ways. One is client server and one is peer to peer. Client server means, as I said, everything, data is stored on the server. Security has to be managed by the server. So basically, all the powers are in on the server itself. It will see who can access the data and who cannot access the data. But in peer to peer, all the computers connected in a network have equal power and equal responsibility. They all have to take care of the security of their computers. Okay, so it's not like there is only one server which is managing all the backup, all the security, right? So this is your peer to peer, which has no dedicated server, and it is useful for small environments, right? So next is, yeah. Now we have different topologies in networking. Topologies means, fine, I know that computers are connected to each other, but now in which, you can say, design or in which form all these computers are connected. Okay, so this is, different structures can be there, as I am showing in this diagram. So meshes where each computer is connected to all other computers. That is your mesh. So suppose if there are n computers, okay, then every computer will be connected to all n minus one computer. This is your mesh topology. Okay, so obviously, here a bulky wiring is involved. So wiring is done, installed. Okay, so but yes, for each connection, like if this A B, each connection between every pair of two computer, there is only one dedicated line. So there will be no other traffic of data. Only this connection will have the traffic of these two computers only. Okay, so much wiring is involved. Obviously cost is involved, installation is difficult, but then after that there will be no traffic of data. And secondly, uh, what do you say, troubleshooting is easy. Okay, why? Because if I know that, if, yeah, fault detection is easy. Okay, and secure. Why this is secure? Because I know that this link is can be used only by these two computers. So no third computer is allowed to access this. So this is secure. And fault detection is, I know that if data is not reaching from A to B, so I know that there is problem in this connection only. I don't need to search for all other parts of this network. Okay. So this is the advantages and disadvantages of mesh topology. Next is your ring topology. Ring topology means each computer will be connected to two of its neighbor. Okay, That is ring topology. But here, obviously, this is very easy to install, easy to understand. But what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is if one connection fails, the entire network will halt. If this is A, B, C, D, E, if the connection between A and B fails, then A will not be connected to C, D, E, any of the computer, right? So this is one thing in ring topology, advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so this is each device is connected with the two devices on either side. Okay, next is star topology. Star topology is basically client server. So this is my central hub, centralized server where all the data is stored, and these all are clients. So here again, what is the advantage? Very easy to set up, but what is the disadvantage? If this central hub fails, the entire network will be disconnected. Okay, this is star topology. Next is bus topology. Bus means, what is bus? What is bus called in a system? Bus means cable. In a system, and all the cables which we use within the computer or to connect the computer, they are called bus. Okay, so here in bus topology, all the computers in the network are connected to a bus. So this cable is basically the backbone of this network. So advantage is very easy to set up. Any number of computers you want, you can just connect it to this wire, and this will be connected to this network. But what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is, like, all the computers are sending their data on this cable only. Okay, so there will be heavy traffic on this cable or bus. So this is the disadvantage of this bus topology. And one is traffic. What is the second disadvantage? Like, if this cable, there is some problem in this cable, then again the entire network will be halted. Okay, so this is another disadvantage. So here I have given the theory of features, advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so this is cost effective, simple to install, very less cabling is required. But disadvantage, if the cable fails, whole network fails, and it is slower, obviously, because traffic is more. Okay, clear? And then tree topology. Tree topology is that this tree topology is hybrid. Hybrid means combination of two topology. So which two topologies you think we are using in this tree topology? Tree means hierarchy. So which two topology you see in this we are using in this diagram?
Star, star topology and bus topology.
Star and bus,
Bus.
right? So this is the bus we are using, and with bus, one star network is connected. Okay, so this is called your tree, uh, which we call it hybrid also or hierarchical also, right? So these are the topology. Topology means the structure in which form you are connecting all the computers in a network, right? Now we did types of networks, we did topology. Next is transmission media. Media is like, obviously, all the computers connected in a network, they need some transmission media. right? On which channel they'll be sending their data. Okay, so this is the transmission media. Now again, this transmission media can be divided in two categories: guided and unguided, right? Now guided means wired, okay, wired media, and transmission, where and unguided means wireless networking. Okay, so obviously wireless means what will be the transmission medium in wireless? Will through air. The data is transferred through air, right? So the microwave, radio, all these. So we'll be doing all this one by one now. So guided means the connection or the through cable wired network basically, right? The physical medium is the cable. So there are three types of cables we have. One is twisted pair. Twisted pair is like if you have seen the basic wiring in your homes, right? So this is kind of, red, green, blue color. These wires are twisted, right? You have seen that. So this is your twisted pair. So the what do you say? The conductor we have inside this is the copper wire, okay, and that on the outer side of that copper wire, this is insulated with some plastic covering. Okay, so this is twisted wire. This is very cheap, also lightweight cable also. So here two insulate copper wires arranged in a spiral manner, right? And the more the turns, less the noise interference. Okay, more number of turns per feet. So, and these cables can be used to transmit analog and digital, both kind of transmission, right? So this twisted pair again can be divided in two types: shielded and unshielded. So this is your twisted pair, this is your copper wire, and outside that insulated, and then there is one, we call it jacket, okay, the outer layer. So in shielded and unshielded, in shielded this wires have a plastic cover outside this, and in shielded we have one extra layer of this metal shield between these wires and plastic covers. Okay, so this is your shielded. So this is obviously a little bit expensive than unshielded, but yes, it is expensive, but more, no, noise tolerance you can say, or reduce the interference, right? So this suffers from some external interference, but it has less noise interference. Okay, and this is the cheapest also, unshielded, right? Next type of, yeah, here I have shown you these types of cables, unshielded, right? And this comes in different categories according to their transmission capacity. Okay, it can support category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on their data transfer speed. Okay, so these are the advantages. This is unshielded, is very cheap, installation is very easy, and used for high speed LAN. And disadvantages, obviously, here its bandwidth is less than the coaxial cable. Next category we'll do is the coaxial cable. Okay, and this can be used for shorter distance only, and less interference from the noise. And in shielded, as I showed you, these wires and then extra metal sheet and then plastic covering. Okay, so more here the noise penetration can be avoided. Okay, but yes, this is expensive than unshielded, right? And this is the disadvantage. And yeah, it easy to install, performance is good, can be used for analog and digital both, higher capacity, and eliminates crosstalk. Okay, and this is used in LAN, LANs also, in telephone lines also, shielded. Okay. Next category is coaxial cable. If you have seen, earlier we used to have some cable network. Okay, cable connection network. So for that cable connection to your TV, we use coaxial cable. So coaxial cable is basically a very thick cable. Okay, so I just show you its diagram. This is the diagram of coaxial cable. So here we have one inner conductor, then outside we have one insulator, then we have outer conductor, then again one insulator, and then we have the final outer plastic coverage, right? So this is insulating material. Uh, s- Inside we have copper wire as core, but then insulating material outside that, then one again conducting material, and then uh, plastic sheet. So as I said, these were used for cable TV connection. Nowadays we don't use this kind of cable TV. Nowadays we have dish. Okay. So advantages and disadvantage. Disadvantages. This is obviously expensive than twisted pair, right? And advantages: bandwidth is high, used in long distance, right? And can be used for both analog and digital. Inexpensive comparison to fiber optic, the third category, which is the fastest and most expensive. Okay, and this is easy to install, excellent noise immunity, right, and transmit signals at a very high speed rate. Next type of wiring is fiber optic. Fiber optic, have you heard about this? Have you heard this term?
No.
Fiber optics is nowadays, yeah, this is the most expensive kind of cabling, and this is the fastest also. Nowadays all the companies used fiber optic only. Okay, and this is a this transmit the signals through light. Okay, and which is the medium in a glass. Okay, in a glass, this cable is made of glass, and in which signals is transmit through light, right? So this is the fastest transmission, lightest weight in weight. This is the lightest material, and this is the most expensive also. So nowadays companies are moving and switching to this fiber optics like telephone lines and for everything. But yes, this cost is very high. Okay, so here they, yes, you said something.
No.
Okay, okay. So yes, what I was saying, yeah. So this fiber optic cable is the latest nowadays. Okay, so here this cable is made of glass and transmits signals in form of light. And then there is obviously outside we have one plastic coating which protects these from heat, cold, and other type of threats. Okay, and faster data transmission than copper wire. Right, so these are the advantages: lightweight, resistance to corrosive material, immunity to interference, less signal attenuation. Yeah, these terms were left. Just a second, I go back to this. One slide is left in between. Yes, these terms we use for designing the transmission media, that which medium we should use. Okay, so what terms are those? One is bandwidth, and these factors we should keep in mind while deciding the transmission media. So bandwidth is the capacity, okay, that how much data that signal can transmit. One is interference. Interference means obviously when your signal is traveling, Okay, so on the way, if something disrupts your signal, okay, that is no, some unwanted signal added to your signals, that is interference. And one is transmission impairment, is like what signal the sender is sending and what signal the receiver is receiving, is that same? Okay, or is that received signal is not identical to the transmitted by the sender, so that means the quality of signal is destroyed on the way. So basically signals get distorted sometimes. Okay, so these factors we have to keep in mind while deciding the, what do you say, transmission media. Okay, next is causes of this transmission impairment. What can be the causes? The causes can be, one is your noise, as I said, some unwanted signals added to your signals. One is distortion means what I was just explaining, that your signals on the way get distorted. Okay, so what the final signal received by the receiver is not the same what the sender actually transmitted. Okay, so this is your, can be the causes. And one is attenuation means loss of energy or the loss of strength. Obviously when we are sending signals on a long distance, so this is the signals become weak on the way. Okay, so that is your, can be the causes of transmission impairment, right? So these I was saying was missed by me in between. So here what we were writing, the terms, higher bandwidth means the capacity of these capacity of signal carrying. Okay, less signal attenuation means less data will be, signals will have maximum strength. So sometimes what happens, we use repeaters in between when we are sending the data over a long distance. So what happens, from the sender to the receiver, the signals becomes weak on the way. Okay, so on the way we use amplifiers to amplify the signal. Okay, so that is called your repeaters, right? So but when we are using this fiber optic cables, we uh, we use these repeaters, the number of repeater use becomes very less. Okay, so because it maintains it signal strength, right? But yes, as I said, these are very expensive. Okay, so cost of installation is very high. And this is the so nowadays for LAN also, for TV companies also, this types of cable is used. And this is the structure, inner core. Okay, then outside cladding, and then the jacket means the outer plastic coverage. So core is, as I said, here the core is glass. Okay, in which light transmission is done. And then this glass, outside this glass we have a cladding. Okay, as you can say, concentric layer, this is the concentric layer. Okay, so that the light waves should not reflect. Okay, that should go straight. And then outside we have the outermost, we have the jacket to prevent the to preserve the fiber strength, so that it should be able to absorb shock, right, for its protection basically. Okay, so advantages is bandwidth, speed, longer distance, right, thinner and sturdier. So these were the guided media. Now we come to the unguided media, right? Unguided media, any idea what is unguided media. Yes. What do you think can be unguided media? Infrared rays. Yes, Abdullah, tell me.
Unguided media is a media that allow transmission of data, the use of physical means.
Unguided. Guided is that use some physical medium. What is
Physical
unguided?
media unguided is a method of transmission of data without the use of physical means.
Hmm? Yes. Come again.
Unguided media
Hmm.
is a method that allows the transmission of data without the use of physical means to define the path it takes.
So yes, so in wireless media is basically we are not using wires for the connection in the networks. Okay, so what we are using some kind of waves. Okay, so there can be three kind of waves. One is radio waves that you must have used radio signals. Okay, radio, you have radio service.
Yes.
Yeah, so that radio is basically your radio waves. Okay, and that is omnidirectional. Omnidirectional means anyone can catch. They are sending in all the directions. So wherever the it's sending and receiving antenna are aligned, they can catch the signals. Okay, so this is, they are divided on the basis of frequencies, hertz, right? And this is used for multicasting. Multicasting means one is sending and there are many receivers. That is multicasting. Okay, and they can penetrate the wall also, and they have a higher transmission rate. And this is used for wide area network. Next is your infrared. What is infrared? Like we use TV and remote. Okay, so that is your infrared. Okay, so in infrared they cannot penetrate the walls. Okay, and better security, obviously they can be used for a very less range, TV and remote, so there is better security, no outside factors, external factor can come. And this is unreliable outside the building, because outside the building there is sunlight and other external environmental factors, and then it will not work. Okay, so this is your, when you transfer between two cell phones or TV remote or data transfer between a computer and a cell phone, that is your infrared. And third is your microwave rays. Microwave rays again can be two types, one is terrestrial and one is satellite. Terrestrial means on the ground. Okay, and satellite, you know very well what is satellite, through air. Right, so microwaves are the satellite is when you send your satellites to space and then from there transmission is done, right? So and terrestrial means on ground. you transmit this radio signal from one ground base station or antenna to another. Okay, so where basically the wiring is not possible, like under the sea or on the mountains, so there we can use this kind of microwave antennas, and these antennas should be aligned, only then they will catch the signals sent by the sender, right? So these antennas are mounted on the towers, okay, and but they should be on the line of sight transmissions, direct sight of each other. They should be aligned basically. Okay, so good bandwidth, short distance. For short distance, it is inexpensive, and for long distance, it is expensive. And the loss of signal, obviously, due to environmental factors. Sometimes you see, like when you have any dish antenna on your roof, but if it is raining outside or windy outside, so you will not get your TV signals, right? So this is attenuation, means signals get weak, right? So this is advantages, cheaper than cables. And when you don't have land for wiring, where you cannot install land, or where you cannot install cable on the land, there you can use this microwave, right? And easy communication, especially in, as I said, terrains areas. The disadvantages is, uh, as I just said, susceptible to weather conditions. Okay, eavesdropping is like insecure connection. Any from between sender and receiver, anyone can catch the signal through air. Any antenna which comes between the sender and receiver antennas, they can catch your signals. Okay, but it is used for TV distributions. Okay, and it requires few amplifiers or repeaters, as I was just explaining. So then partial cable. What is satellite microwave? Anyone? What is satellite?
It's used for broadcasting to receive signal.
Sorry,
It
come
is
again.
used for broadcasting and receive signal. It is used for broadcasting and receive signals.
Can't understand
It
what you're
is
saying.
used for broadcasting and receive signal.
It receives signals. Basically, we send some satellite into the space, and then some earth station is set up. Okay, so very big companies, obviously the cost is very high, so we have to satellite which are used for communication nowadays, for weather forecasting, for TV, and every kind of signals we use for mobiles. So very big companies can afford the cost of sending the satellites in the space, and from one earth station will send the signals to the satellite in the space, and then that satellite will send the signals to the receiver's earth station. Okay, so basically here the transmission is done globally from the earth station, then it will send to the space, and then from the space in satellite will amplify this and send this amplified signal to the another earth station. So satellite comes between, okay, in the space. So this is used in, as I said, mobile and wireless communication, and weather forecasting, radio, TV signals, mobile communication, But yes, what is the disadvantage? Cost. And it can be uh, any satellite which you send in the space can work fine for 12 to 15 years. Okay, so the life is about 12 to 15 years, and then you have to keep controlling it and monitoring it. So it requires more time and high cost. And after 10-15 years, again you send a new satellite in the space. Right, now we did that there is some transmission media, wired or wireless, and different structures. And now I'll tell you that it's not only the, what you say, cables, right? We have some network devices also that are used in the networking. So first of all is NIC, network interface card. So what is network interface card? Yes, Francis. What is network interface card? You have heard this network card on your computer. This network card is your NIC, whether you are on desktop or on laptops, right? So every device has a network card, right? So in so in desktop this is wired, and in the laptop this is wireless NIC. So this is basically network card which is installed on the motherboard, okay, which gives the address, hardware address of your machine. So that is given by this network card. Oh, my screen is not visible. Sorry. Yes, you want to say something, Robert, please?
It was about the screen. You
Oh, sorry, it just got disconnected. Right. So the first device is NIC, network card. Then there is one repeaters, as I said, on when you are sending signals on a long route. So that time on the way you need to install some repeaters which will not let your signals get weak by the time they reach the destination. So it keeps amplifying your signals. Okay, so these are called repeaters. And then there is one is hub. Okay, so it also that repeats the signals it receives on the way, but it is multi-port repeater. Okay, so this is kind of hub. And all the computers in the network, they are connected to this hub. Okay, so now like all the computers are connected to this hub. Now whichever computer on the network, we have to send some request. What hub will do? Hub will send the request to all the computers connected to it. Okay, so there will be extra, what do you say, extra traffic of data, because the request should go to one computer only, but it will send it will just broadcast means one sender and all receivers. It will send the data to all the computers, okay, to the entire network. So this is multi-port repeater is called hub. Okay, then we have bridge. But nowadays we don't use repeaters at hub. Nowadays we use switch and routers only. Okay, and bridge means connecting two segments of a network. So this is one segment of network, this is another, and connection between two segments is your bridge. Then we have switch. Now switch is basically an intelligent hub, you can say. What hub was doing? Hub was sending the data to all the computers. But now switch will see that first it will identify, it will determine that is the which computer in the network is the should be the receiver of this data, and it will send the data to that computer only, not to all the computers. So this is switch that we use nowadays. Okay, we don't use hub and repeaters nowadays, and we use router. Where we use router? Anyone heard this term? Where we use router? Router is basically, you don't have router at your homes through which you get internet connection. Wi-Fi at your homes. So router is which connects internet to your network. Okay, so there is only one router, and to that router will give the internet to all the devices in your home. Okay, and the second is it will determine the best path when you have to send the data from the sender to the receiver. So which path, shortest path this data should take, that is also decided by the router. Okay, so through router you can have only one internet connection, and that can be shared by all the devices, which saves your money. Right. So firewall is a kind of system which manages the which sends the data from the sender network to the receiver network, not to which computer in that network it should go. Its job is only to send the data from one network to another network, and inside that network which computer that data should go, that is not the job of firewall. Okay, and basically this is used for controlling the network security, that no unauthorized source or computer should access. Sorry, I was just, what I said earlier was wrong. Firewall is which is used for the security of your networks. Okay, so that no unknown application or ports or sources should be able to connect or enter your network. Okay, it will allow only the recognized or allowed ports to access your network. That is firewall. Ports is the connection, like, no, one is the port where you connect your USB and printer, and one port is the logical channel. For every application you give it a number. Okay, so that the then you can fix the rules that these port numbers are allowed and these port numbers should not be allowed to enter my network. So that port is basically logical channel. You give a number to an application. Okay, and then we have cables that we did, three types of cables. Modem also we used to have earlier, uh, when internet started. That time we used to connect internet through telephone. So that time we used to have this modem. Nowadays we don't use it. Ethernet is your LAN standards. Okay, that which cable will be used, which switches will be used. Okay, that is your Ethernet LAN standard, and then is your gateway. Gateway means which connect different networks. Okay, so here the gateway job is to route the packet from one network to another network, not inside that network to which computer it should go. It will just send the packet to the intended network. That's it. Okay, so this was your networking concept and OS concept that we did today. I'll oh Abdullah left, so he was having some doubt, so I'll take that doubt numerical tomorrow. Okay, and see you after 15 minutes, right, for the lab session. Okay, guys.
Okay, ma'am.